I walked every day, rain or shine, hot or cold, 18-degree weather, sick or on my cycle for almost 3 months. And then I just stopped. And in this video, I want to talk about why I stopped. And I want to share the roller coaster of the high I was on doing this thing for my body and my wellness with so much discipline and motivation. And then what it felt like when I stopped and felt not that feeling and what it looks like to start again and be comfortable that my start again didn't look like it was in the beginning. So that's what we're going to chat about today. So I walked every day, rain or shine, around my neighborhood for usually 30 minutes to 35 minutes, sometimes 20 if somebody has something to do. Yes, I did it without my babies. Every once in a while, maybe a handful of times they came with me, but it was really something that I was doing for myself and by myself. And my thinking around this was I was probably at that point, maybe about 6 months postpartum with Zen. And I was like, I need to move my body, not just to feel back into a body that I was getting to know on this level again, but also to just feel as if my body could be in motion and I could use that as a meditative thing. So I was like, I'm going to walk every day. I don't want to get in the car and drive to a trail. I don't want to even get in the car and drive to the park trail that's only 5 minutes away. I want to make it as easy as possible for me to do this. I want to walk out of my front door with my sneakers on and I want to walk. And I walked my entire neighborhood every day. I documented the first 30 days, and that was helpful for me. So I would put the conditions. I would put if it was rainy, if it was sunny, if I wasn't feeling that well, if I had a headache, if I was if it was that time of the month, what if there were any major degrees. Like I remember there was a few of them. It was like 22 degrees, 18 degrees. And thank goodness for camping because I would put on these base layers and I would walk, honey. I was still doing it. It was a non negotiable. And when you have in the past come to a space where you've been like, I could do it, but then if this happens, maybe I won't do it. Like this was a non-negotiable. And what that looked like for me to be like, I'm showing up every single day for myself and I'm doing this. It was the most healing and meditative thing that I could have done for myself at that time. It was not long before that I had lost my mom and I needed this in more ways than one. And I was dedicated and I was disciplined and I was so dedicated and disciplined that my household was like supporting me. My mother-in-law lived with me at the time. She was taking the baby. Oh, it's time for mama's walk. My husband was working from home at the time and he was doing the same thing. Like, okay, kids, it's time for mama's walk. Like what you need. And helping me and supporting me make it happen, even though I didn't need to rely on them for it to happen. Well, that might not be true because they watch the kids. But I think I didn't need their push to do it. I was already highly motivated to do it. When I would go on these walks, sometimes I would walk in silence. Sometimes I would walk with chill music. Sometimes I would walk with really, really hype music, and you would catch me on a dance break. Sometimes, walking down, this particular cul-de-sac or this street, and it would remind me of my mom because she would go to Zumba every week, probably I think twice a week, and it was just a way to kind of feel her energy when I would do like the dance break situations. But it was always meditative. It was always a feeling of healing, and I knew I was feeding my body something good, and that felt good. I was doing something for myself that was contributing to my wellness more than just physically, and mentally and emotionally at the time. And I was like, I guess this could go on. And I didn't. One thing that I'm happy that I'm glad that I didn't do was to pressure myself and say this is forever. I was like, I'm going to do it for 30 days. And I did it for 30 days. And then I did it for 30 more. And then I went for 30 more. And that was, I just reset the 30 and I kept that goal tight instead of saying, this is something that I'm going to do forever. Because the reality is, there's not, I mean, I don't know. There's just life happens. Even athletes are like, I'm going to do this forever. And then sometimes they take a minute off for whatever reason. Something happens that they've got to slow down, they've got to shift, they've got to change something. And so this idea that like we started this thing and this is my forever thing, I don't know. I think that can set us up for quote unquote failure before we've even begun. It's like the mindset failure. Like it feels like too much. It feels overwhelming. It feels daunting. And we can beat ourselves up even more if we don't do it and if we don't get to that space. So for me, I was proud. I was riding the high. I was feeling differently in my body. I felt stronger. I had more stamina. And for those who know me, I don't run, but I was running. I would run sometimes, like not a full on sprint, but I would get my little jog on, and I would run sometimes. And I was like, oh, I'm stronger. And I found myself having the energy and the stamina to do more. Not saying, oh, I got to do more because the walking was enough, but I would get home from walking and be like, let me do some strength training. Let me do some weights. Let me do another exercise. I just wanted to do it. And I had never felt that way in my body, ever. I have been healthy around eating. I've been clean eating, plant based since 2010. I know what it looks like to eat clean from my body and how that shifted over the years, but still kept keeping that sense of awareness around my food and all of that. But I had never been, in terms of movement and fitness, this consistent and this disciplined. And I was feeling really good about myself. And then my husband got a traditional job, right? And you already know from another video that happened. That happened quite a bit here and there. He'd be coming out the traditional job, he would going into the traditional job. So he got a traditional job. And when he went back, I don't know, something about my schedule shifted, something about my flow shifted, and I stopped going every day. And I remember feeling like, Imani, like you can still pivot, you can still do this thing, but I didn't do it with as much ease as I did before. And I can't remember, it was something about my schedule changed as well. But him going out of the house, some things that I had going on with Sovereign in terms of what I was doing with her, where I was taking her. And I had all of these reasons as to why now what I could just simply do, lace up these sneakers and go. And I had set it up so I didn't have a lot of obstacles. I felt like now I had obstacles in the way. But the reality is that they were excuses disguised as reasons, because when you want to really do something and keep it going, you can figure out a way. You can drop your child off and you can walk around the parking lot. Like you can do things, but I had to be okay with the fact that it was going to look different than what I had grown accustomed to and what was familiar, in order for me to keep going and in order for me to pivot and in order for me to, what I would say, harness the power of the pivot, right? Pivoting through change is life. And this was a moment for me where I was tested in that. And I'm like, I know that there's things that I could do, but I would have to be, like I said, comfortable with it looking different. I would have to be comfortable with being flexible around my mother-in-law's schedule, because my husband wasn't there anymore when it came to the kids, or maybe she's sleeping or she's sick. I didn't have another backup around that. I wasn't comfortable taking the kids, and I didn't want to. I mean, I should have, because I could have kept the streak. Like, look, okay, the kids are gonna come, because then my walk feels differently to me. But I would have still been able to walk. I would have still showed up, and they didn't have to come with me every single time. But I was resistant to that piece of the change that would have allowed me to pivot. Kind of collectively, those two, I did not want it to change. I did not want it to look unfamiliar. I did not want it to be different than what I had already created, that I liked and that I was comfortable with. And I would have had to do it outside also of my neighborhood. I would have had to be like, oh, I'm dropping Sovereign off here. I got Zen. Let me walk this. Or maybe I don't have Zen. I was able to leave my mother-in-law. Let me walk this parking lot. Let me walk around this building. Let me walk these sidewalks, around this building, whatever. And while I did it, sometimes I was not that daily consistent that I had done it. And I started to feel a shift in my body. My body started to react to the fact that it wasn't every day. My body was like, girl, we was really rocking. We had the stamina, we had the endurance, we had the strength. Now, you 2 times a week, you went from every day to, and I was like, well, I'm doing something. And this is true. But how I felt, what I was thinking in here was not, oh, I'm doing something. I was like, girl, you done failed. Like, how did you go from being so disciplined and so motivated and so gun ho to now like a couple of times a week? And I started to that negative talk started to weigh on me as, you know, you're gonna have to it's gonna be so much harder for you to start over. You're gonna have to start over from scratch. That stamina endurance that you had is gone. And that did not feel good, to say the least. I mean, if you've ever felt that, how many of us have ever felt like, man, we were doing so well, and then we had a dip, and the something shifts in us where we're like, and now we just whack. Now we just messed everything up. And now we got to start all over again, or we've got to figure out how to do it again. And it's going to be so difficult. And the reality is it? Because now we're talking about starting over, right? We talked about this was the high of getting it done and the discipline of that, and the low of now I stopped doing it and I have all these excuses and I have all this resistance, and I'm aware that the resistance is there, but I'm not really doing anything because my mindset is like, dang, it's going to be so hard for me to get it back. So then what does the start over look like? For me, it started up here with, okay, just show up and do something, giving myself grace for the 2 days or the 3 days that I was still walking. I'm still walking. It's not like I said, oh, well, just throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's a horrible, now that we say that, it just came out of my mouth and I'm just like, that is a horrible statement. We get the gist, but I don't like that in my vocabulary. I'm gonna have to take that one out. But we can't just we fall off the wagon. Let's not set the wagon on fire. Okay, let's not just blow up the wagon. The wagon's still there. We can get back on it. Maybe we're moving a little slower, but at least we're moving. So it started with me giving myself credit and acknowledging that I was still doing something. I had not completely given up. And I can transparently say now that I never got back to that daily walking stride rhythm and discipline that I had a few years ago. But what I did do in my starting over was I did a couple of weeks. And then I found a YouTube channel where I like this trainer. I like her energy. I like how she does the workouts. I like how she thinks about them. And I'm going to work out at home with her. And I'm going to do that a few days a week. And I did. And I started to up that because I started to feel better, and my husband started to join me, and we were doing 4 to 5 days a week. We were working out core, strength training, and cardio. And we were taking maybe 35 minutes, maybe 45 if we did like a warm up and a stretch before, because usually we did. And definitely just under an hour, 5 days a week for me, sometimes 6 days, because I would do like a dance workout or something fun on that 6th day. And then on the 7th day, we rested. But we got into this stride. And that stride lasted for about 2 months. And then guess what? Life happened for us. I don't even remember what happened, but we stopped doing that. And we are now talking about getting back into that routine, starting over again. And the idea, and I think the point is to be okay with starting over several times and to know that you're not really starting from scratch. I had to scratch that scratch when my head was like, oh, girl, now you were doing every day, you were doing so well. Now you have to start over from scratch. Dang, who wants to do that? And the fact that I'm telling myself that, I'm making it hard. I'm making it more difficult. I'm not looking at the lowest hanging fruit that I can grab hold of. I'm not looking at the simplicity of what it is that I could do. I'm making it more complex. I'm overthinking it. Who put a one in the chat if you know what that's like, if you feel me. Other people are going to see the one, they're not going to know what it's about unless they watch this video, but you and I, we're going to know that we get it, that we understand each other. But I was like, I I want to start over and have that be okay. And it's not from scratch because one, I know what my body's capable of now that I didn't know before. So that's not from scratch. I know now that I can do it and I have the discipline and the ability to do it. And I can put this line in the sand for non-negotiables for my wellness. I can do that. And even though I thought maybe I could do it before, now I have the receipts that I can do it that I didn't know before. I got to a level, I was able to feel in my body what that kind of endurance and stamina and strength felt like. And I liked it. It's not like I'm starting and I don't know what that feels like. So I'm not even starting from scratch. So often we start something and we're doing well and we fall off of the wagon of doing it. And then we feel like, oh man, we got to start from scratch. It's going to be hard. But really, we're not thinking about all the things that we gleaned and learned from the first time that we did it. So it's not really from scratch. Right? It's something that we gain something from that first time that we can take with us in our start again, in our start over. We're starting again, and we're gonna do it over and over throughout our life. We're gonna have start agains and start overs. And once we drop into that space of that's the reality of us living our lives, you can become way more comfortable with the fact that, oh, I stopped doing that, but I can always start over. I can always start again. That's what I'm doing it right now. And I know this isn't the last time that I'm going to have a start again or start over in my life with something, because different seasons, I have different energy, it requires different things in me, different things shift. I thought that the pivot needed to be that when I was off, that I had to start back doing the everyday walking again like I did. But maybe the pivot was just something else. Maybe the pivot and going along with the change was, okay, if you do these things a few times a week, see how you feel. And then maybe that opened me up to those indoor home exercises of doing the strength and core exercises, which I hadn't really tapped into really, because I was a kind of a little intimidated about doing weights and weight training, even though I know that my body needs it, but I'm doing that. I'm jumping rope. I never thought I would jump rope. Your girl's it's a lot going on to be jumping up and down for me, but I'm jumping rope and I love it. And I know how important that is for my lymphatic system, because my lymphatic system is only activated through motion, vibration, and jumping jacks and jump rope. And I was like, yo, I didn't even know that I could enjoy jumping rope. And I tried it and I like it. And I've gone from doing 50 to saying, okay, my goal is 100 and I'm going to keep it at 100 until I can do 100 straight. So right now, I started with 5 sets of 20 and taking pretty long breaks in between. And now I'm 4 sets of 25, taking shorter breaks in between. And then we'll keep on going from there and pushing my body just a little bit more. So I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna do 100, I'm gonna do 125, I'm gonna do 150, then I'm gonna do 200. I'm not upping the number of reps. My goal is stamina endurance. So my goal is to be able to do 100 straight. And that could take some time. I don't know how long that's going to take me. I have some grace with myself for how long that might take me. But that is a goal that I have, just like I had a goal of walking every day for 30 days. So hopefully there's something we can take from this, right? Hopefully you can remember times where you've had to start over. Maybe there's something right now that you're like, man, I fell off my exercise regimen, you know what I mean, that I started in January, or I fell off my, 3 vegetarian meals a week, or I fell off making sure that I call at least 3 friends every week so that I can stay in touch with my busy schedule, or at least voice note them, or there's something that you started that you felt good about that you stopped doing for whatever reason. Give yourself grace about whatever that reason was. And yes, a lot of times our reasons, our excuses is disguised as reasons, meaning that it can happen and we told ourselves it can't happen or we can't do it. Sometimes you really can't. You don't have the capacity. But sometimes if you're aware of, hey, I can start again, and start again. And maybe just start with, okay, I'm going to do, once a week, I'm going to do this vegetarian meal. It was a lot chopping those vegetables, and that's probably why I stopped. Let me just do once a week and chop these vegetables and meal prep for my lunch or what have you. Like, it's okay to give ourselves grace. It's okay if when we pivot and shift, it looks different than it used to look. It's okay if we're comfortable with the familiar way that we've been doing something, but now we got to do it a little differently. That's okay. It's okay to fall off the wagon. It's common. It's going to happen. Just don't blow it up. Just don't set it on fire. Get back on it. Start again. Start over. And through it all, just love on yourself. My husband says, take care of your human. When people have pets and they're like, you gotta take care of your pets, you gotta take care of your baby. But he'll say, like, take care of your human. And I kind of like that. It's kind of like I'm the human that I am entrusted to care for. And in this moment, I'm not caring for my human, or in this moment, I'm taking care of my human, and that feels good. So in his words, which I'm sure he got from somewhere, but I don't know where, take care of your human and be easy on yourself. Start where you can start. Start quote unquote imperfectly, as they say. Start without all the equipment, start without the best of whatever, but start with the best of intentions for yourself first and foremost, and for whatever it is that you would like to do, any of those examples that I gave, or whatever it is for you. So if there's something for you, I would love to know in the comments. If there's something that you would really like to start again or start over, please share it with me in the comments. I shared mine. I share what I'm doing right now. I've shared a lot throughout this journey with the 100 Days of Daily Posting here on YouTube, including creativity and what that's looking like for me. And I'm still discovering that, and I'll keep you guys posted on what that is looking like for me. Maybe share some things that I'm working on and some projects. If that's something you guys would be interested in seeing, let me know in the comments. But first and foremost, let me know if there's something you want to get back to. That's what I really want to hear. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I'm Imani Aishi. I'm here making videos every day to help us have more feel good relationships with ourselves and with our partners. And if that is your vibe, then please subscribe. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you like this one, you're probably going to like the one that is also going to be, why can I never think of this word? This is the second time this happened to me. Linked. Goodness gracious. Mommy brain is real. Linked at the end of this video. So go ahead and check that out as well. And I'm going to see you tomorrow.